Chapter: The Apple That Cannot Satisfy.
Anastasia, if everything was so good in the beginning, what happened afterwards? Why are there wars on earth and why are people going hungry? We have stealing, criminals, suicides, prisons. There are plenty of unhappy families and orphan children. Where did the loving Eves go? Where is God, who promised we would all live in love eternally? Actually, I remembered that the Bible talks about this. Because man picked the apple from the forbidden tree and tasted it, God drove man out of paradise. He even put a guard at the gates to keep the mischief makers out of paradise.
Vladimir, God did not drive man out of paradise.
Yes, he did. I read about it. He also cursed man at the same time. He told Eve she was a sinner and would give birth in agony, and Adam would obtain his food by the sweat of his brow. That is how everything happens with us now in real life.
Vladimir, think this through yourself. Perhaps that logic or the absence of it is to someone's advantage. Perhaps it has its own purpose.
What do logic and someone's purpose have to do with this?
Please believe me. Each must learn himself to examine things with his soul and define reality. Only by thinking things through yourself can you understand that God did not drive man out of paradise. God to this day remains that all-loving Father. He, God, is love. You read about that too.
Yes, I did.
So where is the logic? After all, a loving parent would never drive his child out of his home. A loving parent, enduring deprivation himself, forgives his children any transgression. Nor does God gaze impartially on all the sufferings of people, his children.
Whether he gazes or not, I don't know, but it is clear to everyone that he does nothing to counter it.
What are you saying, Vladimir? Of course he will bear this pain from his son man. But how much can one fail to perceive the Father, fail to sense his love, not see it?
Why are you getting so worked up? Speak more specifically. Where and in what are the present-day manifestations of God's love for us?
When you're in the city, take a closer look around you. The living carpet of the most marvelous grass is covered with lifeless asphalt. There are hulks called homes, made of harmful concrete, all around, and cars move to and fro between them, emitting deadly gas. But among the stone hulks, if they find just a small island, blades of grass will come up, as will flowers, God's creation. From the leaves rustling and the birds singing, he keeps calling to his daughters and sons to make sense of what is happening and to return to paradise. Love's illumination keeps decreasing from the earth, and the sun's reflection would have dimmed altogether long ago. But with his energy, he indefatigably strengthens the stuff of life and the sun's rays. As before, he loves his daughters and sons. He believes, waits and dreams that one day with the next dawn, man will suddenly comprehend, and that his comprehension will return the original flowering to earth.
But how did everything happen on earth despite God's dreams? How did they last? I don't know how many thousands or maybe millions of years. How can anyone keep waiting and believing all that time?
For God, time does not exist. As in a loving parent, faith does not vanish in him. Thanks to that faith, we are all alive right now. We ourselves are creating life, enjoying the freedom our Father has given us. But people did not choose the path leading to nowhere all of a sudden.
If not all of a sudden, then when? What does Adam's apple mean?
In those times as now, the universe was filled with many living energies. Living essences are invisible everywhere, and many of them resemble the second human eye. They are almost like people. They are capable of encompassing all planes of being, except the material. Herein lies man's advantage over them. One energy always predominates in the set of energies of universal essences. They do not have the ability to change the correlation of their energies. Also among the universal essences are sets of energies akin to God. Akin, but they are not gods. For an instant they can balance the multitude of energies in themselves, but they cannot create living creations in harmony, like God. No one in the entire universe has been able to find the solution, to reveal the innermost secret, the power with which the material plane was created. And where, in what, the thread connecting it, and the entire universal essence lie. How, at whose expense can this plane reproduce itself? When God created the earth and everything in it, then due to the speed of the unprecedented creation, the essences were unable to comprehend the force God used to produce the universe. When everything was created and visible, when they saw that man was the most powerful of all, the beautiful vision plunged many first in wonderment and admiration, and the desire grew in them to repeat it, to create the same thing but their own. This desire kept growing. Even now, it remains in many of the essence's energies. They have tried to create something like Earth in other galaxies and other worlds. They have even used the planets God created. Many have achieved a likeness of earthly being, but only a likeness. No one has been able to achieve an Earth of harmony and interconnection of everything with everything. Thus there are to this day planets with life in the universe, but a life that is merely a distortion of earthly life. When out of many attempts not only to create something better but to repeat it, everything proved to be in vain, and God did not disclose his secret, then many of the essences began to turn to man. It was clear to them that if God's creation was man, if he was loved in loving, the loving parent could not refuse to give him anything. On the contrary, God could present man, his son, with great resources. So the universal essences began to turn to man, and strive to do so to this day. Even today some people assert that someone invisible talks to them from somewhere in the cosmos, and calls itself the intellect and the force of good. So too at the very beginning, they came to man first with instruction, then with a request. The essence of all the questions remained the same. It was merely masked differently. Tell us how, by what power, the earth and everything in it was created, and how, out of what you were created, great man. But man never did give any of them an answer. He himself did not know the answer to that question, nor does he now. But interest in him rose, and man began demanding answers to that question from God. God did not simply not answer. He tried to reason with man and asked him to eliminate the question from his thoughts.
I beg of you, my son, create. You have been given to create in the earthly expanse and in other worlds. What has been conceived by your dream will come to pass. I ask only one thing. Do not try to sort out with what force all this is accomplished.
Anastasia, I don't understand why God didn't want to tell even man, his own son, about the technique of creation.
I can only suppose. By not answering even his own son, God was trying to safeguard him from disasters and avert universal war.
I don't see any connection between the absence of an answer and universal war.
If the secret of creation were disclosed, then on the planets and in other universes, forms of life equal to earthly forms could arise. The two forces would want to test each other. Possibly there could be peaceful competition, possibly something similar to earthly wars, thus laying the seeds for universal war.
Truly, better God's technique of creation stay a secret, just so none of the essences figure it out themselves without a hint.
I don't think anyone ever will.
Why are you so sure?
It is the kind of secret that is clear. There is no secret, and at the same time is more than one. The word creation gives me confidence when you attach a second word to it.
What?
Inspiration.
But what does that make? What could those two words together mean?
No,
stop, quiet. I remembered you said that thoughts, and that means words too, do not vanish into nowhere, but hover in the dimension around us, and anyone can hear them. Is that true?
Yes.
And the essences could hear them?
Yes.
Then quiet, why give them a hint?
Vladimir, you mustn't worry. By revealing the secret to them slightly, I may be able to in this way to show the fruitlessness and pointlessness of their tireless attempts, so that they understand and stop harassing man.
If that's so, then tell me what creation and inspiration mean.
Creation means what God created out of particles of all the universal energies, including his own. Even if all the essences assemble together to achieve something similar to Earth, they will not have enough of one energy, the one that as an idea is intrinsic to God, that was born in the divine dream alone. Inspiration means the creation made in a burst of inspiration. Which of your sculptors, your great artist, who created in a burst of inspiration, would later try to say how he held the brush, what he was thinking, where he was standing? Wholly engrossed in his work, he paid no attention to that. Furthermore, there is the energy of love, sent to earth by God. It is free, subservient to no one, and while maintaining its loyalty to God, serves only man.
How interesting this all is, Anastasia. Do you think the essences will hear this and understand?
They will hear, and they may even understand.
What I'm saying, will they hear that too?
Yes.
Then I'll sum up for them again. Hey, essences. Is it clear to you now? Is it? Don't go grasping at people anymore. It's not for you to divine the Creator's intention. Well, Anastasia, did I tell them well?
Your last words were very accurate. It's not for you to divine the Creator's intention.
How long have they been trying to?
Since the moment they saw the earth and men, right up to the present day.
How have their attempts harmed Adam or us?
In Adam and Eve, they aroused pride and egoism. They were able to convince them by false dogma. In order to create something more perfect than what is, you must break it open and see how the creation works. They repeated this often. Know the construction of everything and you will tower over everything. They hoped that when Adam began taking apart God's creations and understanding their structure and purpose, he would understand with his mind where the interconnection among all creations lay. They would see the thoughts Adam produced and understand how they too could create akin to God. At first, Adam ignored their advice and request, but one day, Eve decided to advise Adam.
I hear it. Voices saying that everything will be more beautiful and easier for us when you learn the structure inside everything. Why do we keep not agreeing with this advice? Would it not be better to follow it just once?
First Adam broke a branch off a tree with marvelous fruits on it and then, now you yourself see, creative thought in man came to a halt. Ever since then he has been taking apart and breaking everything open, to understand the structure of everything, and creating his own primitive things with his instantly halted thought.
Anastasia, wait a minute. This is not entirely clear. Why do you think that human thought came to a halt? On the contrary, when people sort things out, it's called learning something new.
Vladimir, man is made in such a way that he does not have to sort out anything. In him is, how can I say this more understandably? The entire construction is preserved as is in man, in an encoded form. The code is revealed when he puts his creative dream in inspiration.
But it's still not clear what harm there can be from disassembling and why it halts thoughts. Why don't you show me by example?
Yes, that's right. I'll try by example. Imagine you are driving behind the wheel toward a goal. It suddenly occurs to you to look at how the engine works, why the wheel turns. You stop your automobile and start disassembling its engine, for example.
Well, if I do, I find out what's what there, and then I can repair it myself. What could be bad in that?
But while you are disassembling, your movement is halted. You will not reach your goal in time.
On the other hand, I'll know more about the car. What is bad about me acquiring new knowledge?
What do you need it for? Your purpose is not to repair. It is to take pleasure in the movement and to create.
You have not been convincing, Anastasia. Not a single driver would agree with you. Well, maybe those driving new foreign cars, Japanese makes or Mercedes, they rarely break down.
God's creations not only do not break down, but they are capable of resurrecting themselves, so why disassemble them?
What do you mean, why, if only for interest's sake?
Forgive me, Vladimir, if my example was unsuccessful. Allow me to try to give another.
Try away.
A beautiful woman is standing in front of you. Desire for her is burning in you. She is to your liking, and she is not indifferent to you. She tries to unite with you in creation. But in the moments before a mutual surge of union, creation, it suddenly occurs to you to sort out what a woman is made of. How do her organs work inside? Her stomach, liver, kidneys. What does she eat? What does she drink? How will all this work in an intimate moment?
That's enough. Say no more. Here you've come up with a terrific example. There won't be any intimacy or creation. It won't work if that cursed thought comes. This happened to me once. I had long liked a certain woman, but she wouldn't give herself to me. When one day she did consent, I suddenly got to thinking how best to do everything, and for some reason began to doubt my abilities. As a result, nothing worked. Such a disgrace. I had a real fright. Later I asked a friend, and he'd been through the same thing. He and I even went to see a doctor. The doctor told us that a psychological factor had come into play. We shouldn't have doubted and tried to sort out what was what. I think men have suffered quite a bit from that factor. Now I understand. All this is because of the essences and of Adam and Eve's advice. Yes, they behaved rather badly then.
Why do you blame only Adam and Eve? Take a look today. Isn't all humanity stubbornly continuing to repeat their mistake, breaking God's commandments? The consequences were not clear to Adam and Eve, but why does humanity stubbornly continue taking everything apart, destroying living creations? Today, when the consequences are obvious and sad,
I don't know. Maybe everyone needs a good shaking up? Have we gotten into a cycle of nothing but taking things apart? I just had the thought that it is too bad God did not really punish Adam and Eve. If he'd gone and slapped Adam upside the head to drive out the foolishness from which humanity is suffering now, and given Eve a good switching in a soft spot so she wouldn't butt in with her advice.
Vladimir, God gave man complete freedom, and in his thoughts produced no punishments from himself. In addition, what has been done in thoughts cannot be changed by punishment. Wrong actions will keep being created until the original thought is changed. For example, tell me what you think. Who invented the death-dealing missile and its nuclear warhead?
In Russia, academician Korolev built the missiles, and before him, Tsiolkovsky spoke about them theoretically. American scientists tried. Well, in general, many human minds have worked in rocket building. There are lots of inventors working in different countries.
Vladimir, the inventor of all missiles and all lethal weapons for them, is in fact only one.
How can he be one when entire scientific institutes are working on creating missiles in different countries and they keep their achievements secret from each other? That's what the arms race means. Who produces arms faster and better?
Hints are gladly handed out to all the people who call themselves scientist inventors, and independently of which country they live in, by him, the sole inventor.
And where in what country does he himself live and what is his name?
The thought of destruction. In the beginning, after getting through to one person and taking control of his material body, it produced the spear and stone point. Then it created the arrow and the iron arrowhead.
But if it knows everything, this destructive thought, why didn't it produce a missile right away?
The material level of earthly existence does not immediately embody a conception. The Creator has given us a slowness in matter for comprehension. Destructive thought long ago produced the spear, what we have now for weapons, and what we will have in the future, much more lethal. Embodying more than a sphere on the earthly material level required the construction of many plants and laboratories, which are now called scientific. On outwardly plausible pretext, men were drawn more and more into implementations of lethal thought.
But why does it need that? Why does it try so persistently?
To assert itself, to destroy Earth's entire material plane, to show the whole universe the superiority of the energies of its all-destroying essence over everything and over God, it acts through people.
There, the viper, that sly viper. How are we to drive it from the earth?
Chapter: Intimate connections with it have to be avoided.
Do not allow it to penetrate you. All women should avoid intimate relations with men who have let in the thought of destruction, so as not to give birth to it over and over.
Oh, you. If all women colluded in this, scientific military minds would go crazy.
Vladimir, if women would start acting on this, there would be no war on Earth.
That's for sure. Anastasia, you really are onto something with all wars. You really are. Your idea could smash all wars. Truly, what man would want to fight if after that no woman would sleep with him or give him progeny? Anyone who starts a war ends up killing himself and all his descendants.
If women want to do all that, no one would start a war. Eve's fall would be expiated before herself and God by the women living today.
What would happen then?
The earth would flourish anew with the primordial flower.
You are persistent, Anastasia, and you remain true to your dream. But you are also naive. How can you believe in all the women on earth?
How can I not believe in women, Vladimir? If I know that each woman living on earth today has inside her the divine essence. Let it be revealed in all its beauty. Let it, goddesses, women of the divine earth, reveal the divine essence in you. Show yourself to the entire universe in your glory of the primary sources. A perfect creation, you were created from the divine dream. You, each of you, is capable of pacifying the energies of the universe. Women, goddesses of all the universe and earth.
Anastasia, how can you say that all the women on earth are goddesses? Your naivety really makes me laugh. Just think, all of them goddesses, even those who stand behind counters at the different stores and kiosks, the cleaners, dishwashers and waitresses. In the kitchen at home, day in and day out, always boiling and roasting and rattling dishes, they're goddesses too. You yourself blasphemy. How can drug addicts and prostitutes be called goddesses? Well, maybe in a temple. Or at a ball, a beautiful lady dances. Sometimes people say about them as well, she is a goddess. But no one would ever call all the various unkept creatures in unfashionable rags a goddess.
Vladimir, every day the circumstances of modern life forces earthly goddesses to stand in the kitchen. You said that I am like a wild animal, that my daily life is primitive, and that only the one you live in is civilized. Then why do the women in your civilization of your part of life spend their life in a cramped kitchen, forced to wash the floor and haul heavy things from the stores? You boast of your civilization, but why is there so much dirt in it? Why do you turn your very beautiful earthly goddesses into cleaning women?
Where have you ever seen a cleaning goddess? Those who are worth something, their beauty shines in contest and are drowned in luxury, and everyone wants to marry them. But they only marry rich men, and the poor don't need all the different neglected creatures.
Each woman has her own beauty. Only she is not always given the chance to reveal herself. That great beauty cannot be measured, like a waist, for example. The length of a leg, size of bust and eye color are unimportant here. Beauty is inside the woman, and the young girl, and the elderly lady.
Well, yes, in elderly ladies too. Now you're going to tell me about old lady pensioners. You think they're beautiful goddesses too.
In their own way, they are beautiful. In spite of the sequence of life's humiliations, the many cracks in their fate, any woman who gets called granny can one morning apprehend, wake up with the dawn, walk through the dew, smile at the rising sun with a ray of comprehension, and then...
What?
Suddenly make someone love her. She herself will be loved, and she will give him the warmth of her love.
Him who?
Her one and only, who apprehends the goddess in her.
That doesn't happen.
Yes, it does. You go ask old people. You'll find out how many ardent romances they have.
And you're sure women can change the world?
Yes, they can. They can without a doubt, Vladimir. By changing the priorities of their love, they, God's perfect creation, will give back to the earth its beautiful original form. They will transform the whole earth into the flowering garden of the divine dream. They're God's creation, the beautiful goddesses of God's earth.
End of chapter. Join us for the next segment of Co-Creation. Book 4 of the Ringing Cedars series, 3 Prayers.